Somebody looking? All right, all right, all right. Can you hear?
Hello?
I'm here.
You hear me, Miss Parker?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Dana, can you hear me?
All right, and I think we're back.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we're back. We back, y'all.
I can hear you. I was like, something happened. Something froze.
We gonna work this, y'all. We gonna work this out, y'all. So welcome to the first little episode of Touch the World Unleashed. You can go call it Touch the World Unleashed. We're gonna start at the top. The lady in red, why don't you introduce yourself?
This is Diva, y'all, aka Mikhail, and I am with Eva J on Touch the World Unleashed.
All right, all right. All right, we got our baby girl in the bottom left corner. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I am Dana Burpo.
That was like a Holy Ghost sanctified sexy right there. She's like, I am.
She was composed.
Right. And then we have the lady down here in green, just cool and chilling in the corner. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Greetings, everyone. I am Miss Parker, and I'm speaking.
All right, all right, all right. So, Mikhail, last week we were here on Touch the World. We were on Touch the World Radio, and we were talking about the creative and how important it is to use your creative beings to inspire yourself and kind of uplift each other. Can we kind of do a recap of last week about why you write and how therapy is?
Right. I can't really hear you anymore, but we're gonna keep pushing forward. I did hear enough to know. I write because, well, first of all, my writing, the start here, was birthed out of pain and from a young girl. And I've continued to write. It didn't start, I can't say it started as a poem, but I was encouraged by my mother to, as my stepmom who raised me, to write my thoughts, write my feelings. And that's what I did. And it began to transition to poetry. It became poetry. So with the reason why I still write, it's not always been about pain, but I've transitioned through different thoughts and different realms. So it inspires me, keeps me encouraged to write. It motivates me, and even more so, the biggest thing that I celebrate about it is that it's during my process of writing, the things that God uses me to do in my creative moments with Him is to be a part of helping people to heal. And so I've heard back from people that the writing and the reciting and the giving of myself in transparency has helped them and bridged them to start their healing or be a part of their process. So it's really important to use your creative gifts.
Okay, Dana, let's talk to you for a minute. I know you're my mentee, but right now you're in your your poetic flow? Why you
I believe the question is, why do I write? Because it was like freezing up just a little bit. I have no earphones on. I don't know why that I can't hear for my reason.
Can you hear me, Dana?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Why do you write?
I write to tell my story. Things that I have seen in my 32 years of life, experience that I have experienced, and coming from uh, being a PK, preacher's kid, from that standpoint of view, and things that I have just basically seen. It's like I heard that there's a story that says that you're overcome by your testimony. So if I can touch somebody by my writing, by someone hearing my story, being a voice for society, that's why I write.
Okay. Now I know you guys are part of a poetic flow kind of group. Diva, why don't you introduce our guests below?
Well, it is my pleasure, my humble pleasure, to introduce to some, and for those of you watching live, many of you may already know her. Well, this is Miss Aisha Parker. Can we have some hands up in here where we are? How about the snaps? How about the snaps?
I
This is
take
the
it home.
vision. This is the visionary of the Insomniac Poets, and I want to give her an opportunity to talk about what we're all about, what the vision is that I say God has given to her. God bless you, ma'am.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Miss Parker. And my handle is Miss Parker Speaks. And the question that you asked everybody else, I'm going to answer it too because it'll segue into why Insomniacs was formed. I wasn't a writer back in the day because I'm a little older. They did teach us poetry. So I wrote a few poems back in the day. However, my mother transitioned in 2011 and she was a writer, and I sat at her feet all the time watching her. Um, and it was one of those things where I just fell in love with poetry through her voice and through her sound. And so found a spoken word at around 2003 and used to try to convince her to come out because I got to listen to her poetry. I memorized her poetry. In 2011, when I lost her, I made a conscious decision that her voice would not go unheard. And so I started doing poetry, doing her poetry. And then I went into a writing workshop that said, you have two voices. And so you have your mother's, but you also have a story to tell. So that's where I got my legs from, is from being mentored and being loved into a space. But I've always had a love. I breathe poetry. So I've always had that love. Flashing forward to now a new venture for me because I've been in poetry for a very long time, just a listener and also a producer of shows. So we were online. I do something called Insomniacs because sometimes, creative people don't sleep. Sometimes they get woke up in the middle of the night. Your pen chases you. Your pen chases you. So sometimes you can't sleep. Sometimes it wakes you up. Sometimes it keeps you from sleeping. So I created something called the Insomniacs just to check in on friends and family to see who else was up, because you can't call your girlfriend or your guy friend at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, "Hey, what you doing?" They're gonna be upset at you. They're gonna be real mad.
Right.
So when I started getting online, I started telling my own stories, but then COVID hit. We're in quarantine. And then I started wanting to check on people and see how they're doing. And so more people started coming onto my live, and a lot of creative people started coming onto my live. So we became the Insomniac Poets. And then I was convinced by Dana that we started on Facebook and it would only let 8 people in to share. I started doing writing prompts with the group, and it would only allow 8 people to share. And so I was searching on Zoom, heard about Zoom, known about Zoom for a long time, but we as creatives have never used the platform, not to its fullest extent. So through talking to her and we doing it together, we were able to start formulating this workshop on Zoom, and it's been amazing since we started. So I'm
Yeah.
excited about the movement because being a
Right.
creative in this climate, it's time for you to work. It's time
Yeah.
to get busy because
Right.
all of the things that were
Yes.
the reasons why you weren't are now being removed. So this is
Right.
why it was formed.
Beautiful. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Okay,
And
so for those of you guys that have heard of, you go ahead. For those of you guys have never heard about what she's talking about, I just want to play a short clip and kind of get them up to date, and then we're going to come back to Diva, and she's going to there. Diva, here we go.
Insomniac Poets. It's more than a room, but Miss Parker have taught us how to look deep into our souls and pull those words out that say, hey, I'm gifted. I have a story to tell and I'm not afraid to share it. Even if you have to cry on my shoulder, I lend it to you. But at the end of the day, you're going to smile so bright because we're talented beyond measures. We are a family. United we stand, divided we'll fall. But we are a family that looks out and nurtures those who are broken. We take the pieces and make you whole. We invite you to the room to tell your story, to tell your legacy. It does not matter how you start, but it's how you finish. Even if you need a dictionary to find the words to say, welcome, Insomniac Poets.
Well, well, well. Come on, some. I can't hear nobody. I can't
Okay.
hear nobody. I can't hear nobody.
Yes.
Yes.
I want to
So
say,
go ahead, Diva.
first of all, the young lady that put that together is in the room. So I want to give you snaps, Dana, Dana, Dana. I have had the pleasure of knowing Dana since my attendance at LA Southwest College. And Dana has been always a sweet person and a encouragement to me. So I thank you openly, Dana, for that. And she's a wonderful poet herself. Awesome. And I appreciate
Yes.
your creativity and your thoughtfulness in putting that together for the Insomniacs. It's really beautiful. Thank you for that.
So I believe our queen, she probably will be back in a moment. Dana, do you know I'm always gonna just throw something at you. I know you have a piece or something that's close to you, and all that kind of good stuff. Welcome back, Miss Parker.
It's, when you're trying to do great.
Dana, I know you. Yes, 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 yes. Dana, give us a piece. I know you got your book closed. You got had your book. You showing us. You got something.
Yes.
Get something, Dana. Come
I got
on,
something
give it
for you.
to us. So give me a little.
All right, all right. This actually was inspired by Miss Parker. It's actually part of our writing prompt that we have to do tonight. So you guys get a open a first seat. So my writing prompt was just to keep the lights.
Right.
I took your petty ways way too long. I scrambled it up with some nonsense. And it still was not enough to keep the lights on because your ego got in the way of smothering me. You smothered me like mashed potatoes and gravy cut up with some onions and mushrooms. You smothered me. And funny as it might seem, you said that you loved me, but you didn't appreciate me. So that caused the light inside of us to dim. You used to stimulate my mind with praise. Mentally, you have already checked out. So I decided to shine the light on love, and I dimmed it on your hurtful ways. You used to look at me as though I was a light, but somehow that light has dimmed so quickly. As you point out my flaws, you said that you would never do in the beginning. You said that the right things, you did the right things, you smoothed me right to the altar. Oh, you was a clever one. But it was only a mask that you was wearing. to only hide the beast that's inside of you. When will you wake up from this nightmare? When will you free yourself from this dream? When will you free me from this madness? Just to keep the lights on, I pray to God for new mercy. I pray to God for a new wind to blow my way. I pray to God to free me from this cage so that I can sing once again in peace.
Woo! Go ahead, Poet Green.
I had to snap and bounce with it.
Hey.
Yeah.
God,
Yes.
baby. I wanted to.
So tell me. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I wanted to say one of the things I love about being a part of the Insomniacs is the fact that we are encouraged to encourage each other. And so one thing that Miss Parker Speaks has required of us is that we be supporters of each other. That there's nobody that comes
Yes.
into this space that's not welcomed and not appreciated. And that is something that has been ringing true ever since the moment I stepped into when it was just about her doing a wellness check when all I saw was Miss Parker in the comments before I saw anybody's face. And she's always been that motivating. She's been motivating. And then when we got into the Zoom, it was pretty much what we just did. We give everybody love. It's a loving space. It's a welcoming space. No one will be denied. No one will be left out. Everybody's accepted, no matter who you are, no matter what race you are, no matter what background you have. Everybody's got a voice. And that has been the resounding message throughout ever since I started. So this love that we're feeling right in here that Dana just got, we get that every time we get together. Every time we get together.
And I'd like to
Right.
it is always important for all of us to feel good in the spaces that we're in. Only life can grow life. And so when you speak life into someone, all you can do is just enhance their life. So if I may, Dana, since you already put it out there, you're going to have to do it again in class today, but you already got your writing prompt already. Your writing prompt when you wake up from this nightmare.
She done gave you a prompt right now.
Well, Dave Becker is watching on Facebook, and he said, "Great poem, great poem."
Thank you.
Amazing. I'm proud of you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So now, how do they get? You guys have a reading tonight at what, about 9:07?
9:07. We actually have a special guest that comes in. Her name is Makita. She's amazing. I bring in special guests because I know the value of stories, and I know the value of history and where you've been and where you're going. Sometimes you can't. A friend of mine always says is you cannot see the picture before the frame. So if you're in the picture, you can't see the frame. So I get to step out of the frame. I get to step out of the picture and see the frame and tell you the beautiful colors. So when I get to bring other people on that I know how dynamic they are and how spiritually sound they are, and they can add value to this group, we bring them in. And then after that, we have our sharing time, which is all the people who have done their homework. And there's so many writing prompts that they get to choose which one they want to do, because this is not going to be something that's rushed. This is not going to be something that's forced. This is going to move in a very natural way. And so that's why we do what we do in the Insomniacs.
Gotcha. So I know she does a lot of it's Insomniacs. You know, I don't get too much sleep. I'm constantly up, bouncing around, and this is my wake up time. It's 6:00. This is like morning for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How important, I asked Mikhail this last week, how important is it in this season right now with this pandemic that's going on for us as creators to inspire other people more than usual?
Well, we are the storytellers. We are the gatekeepers of our history. We are the ones who move this world. There's nothing in this world that did not come from creativity. There's nothing in this world that change did not happen. And I always say that if you look on history and the wars that have been out there, the first thing they do is rob you of your books, your culture, and your art. So artists are very
Yes.
important. If you look at the Holocaust, you know, they burnt the books. They burnt all of the history and the art of them. And so you have to know how vital, even though we always talk about starving artists, we always talk about artists as if they are second class citizens, but they are the ones who move and shake this world.
Yes.
And so right now is the time, because if we want to dim, and I always say shine the light, dim the light, shine the light on love, dim the light on negativity. If we want to dim what we're seeing now, the only thing we can do is speak in the language of God, which is love. And so by telling truth and being authentic in the truth that you tell, you get an opportunity to move this world into a place and fashion it the way you want it to look. And as poets, that's our responsibility. And as artists, that is our responsibility.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
Definitely. Definitely. The one of the things I admire about this group, just how we got a sample of what we experience when we're in the Insomniac group. So while Dana was reading, while she was reciting, excuse me, Miss Parker is listening. And she listens from a space not just cerebral, I've learned. It's a spiritual place. It's a
Yes.
plane she gets on, that she catches stuff that like we'll type it in the chat, stuff that like jumps out to the different poets are like putting in there like sentences, but she's listening on a plane that is it's like I'm just going, here's the word vibration. It's a vibrate. It like vibrates her right directly to that thing in there, that part, and she pulls. So she takes from that, and our next writing prompt will come from something we've already written. So we're literally stacking and stacking and stacking and stacking thoughts and things that are coming from us, allowing us to release it onto paper or whatever we're using, or memorization. But for me, it's email. I'll type it and send it to myself. But that was a sample of what we get, and she said homework and she ain't playing. Dana will be reciting that
Right.
again tonight, and she will be expected to have a writing, all of us. But what I love about her, Miss Parker, is that she doesn't push. She really doesn't push. Now she will expect, but she doesn't push. She actually goes on who's ready, who wants to recite, because I was sharing with Dana just the other day. I was like, sometimes we just come in our presence, because some people need to have, we're going to sit in different positions at different times. Like I may not be ready with my homework at that moment, but I'm there and present in class. This is something extra I'm gonna add right now as kids came to me. When you're in a classroom and you're learning, being educated, or there's someone that's going to speak, someone's going to listen. We are the audience, and we're giving some people who've never been on a mic. I've had the experience with Mike. I know Dana has. I know Miss Parker has. You have, Eva. But people that haven't had that mic experience, that's a different level
Yeah.
right there. That's a different
Yeah.
level. So this is a groundbreaking experience for some people who ain't never been on that mic. Because eventually, if it's their journey, they're gonna get on that mic. A lot more people, so start
Right.
intimately,
Right. Right.
So
Look, Dave Becker said true.
yeah.
I think it's important also for us to understand that everybody doesn't know the gift that's buried in them until
Yeah.
somebody pulls it out. Like I was talking
Right.
about my mom. A lot of there's been a couple. I do something called Spoken Word Voices Heard Women's Amateur Poetry Slam, and it's taking amateur writers and people who are just starting out. But I've had women who have come in who I remember when we did our audition, she was like, I've had people shaking their journals, who have never opened their journals to anyone, and they chose. This is important for people to know. I don't choose you guys. I don't
Mhm.
choose who comes to me. But what my charge is that when you choose me to help on this journey, that I be very sensitive to it. Don't get it twisted. I do push, but I know a push and a pull. And so this young lady was shaking. She was like, this is my first time opening my journal, and she got on the stage for the very first time, and I, through my counseling, she was like, I said, you need to show up and show out. And now this woman is doing so many things. She's got 2 books out, and she was top 3 on standing in this contest. So I encourage, if you never thought you were a writer, I want you there. If you think you're a writer, I want you there. If you are a writer, I want you there. There's no that we got the amateurs to the people who are actually hitting the stage and actually getting some income from this.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so let's talk about this. I know you said we were talking about push. Everybody needs a push.
Yes.
Everybody needs a push in the right direction. When you, as a mentor, because that's what I see, you as a mentor, how important is it to push everybody differently?
Oh, it's there's no cookie cutter pushing. There's absolutely no cookie cutter pushing. You have to know the person that you are dealing with and know when to push and when to hold back. It's just like being a mama. You know the days that your children, when you are yelling and screaming, they didn't tune you out. But when I get silent, then now you're trying to figure out,
baby.
Okay, mama is like when I'm at a peak of level of highness, then my son is like, okay, I got a little more time to act up.
Yeah.
But when I start speaking softly, then he's responding.
Yeah.
So you have to know when to be a drill sergeant and when to be a friend and walk on the side of somebody. You have to be able to touch them in all 4 angles. You got to know if you got to be on the right side or the left side or in front or in back. But that's a strategic thing that you have to learn and you have to feel. And it's not all about a skill set. It's about being open, because sometimes when we are mentors, we think we know it all. And I know I can learn from a 2-year-old. So you got to be able to be a follower as much as a leader when it's time to mentor, because I'm learning from everybody who's in that group, and I'm not a know-it-all. And once you realize a true mentor is never a know-it-all.
Right.
But they are all in.
We're constantly learning.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you thought you knew it, and they say when you think you know it, then you better go start doing some more research.
Right.
Yes. So Dana, before we go to Diva, Dana's one of my mentees, and she knows I'm harder on her and Miss Tiffany Allison than any of my other mentees. I'm just cut and dry. How does it feel to have a mentor like Miss Parker within your poetry?
How does it feel? It feels really good. I have to think about it for a minute. It feels really good. Like, I knew I had the gift inside of me, and she actually has pushed me and inspired me to like, oh, you should go on to IG. They have open mic, virtual open mics. I'm like, virtual open mics? I'm like, I find myself more than ever, 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night with my book open, like, okay, I'm ready to get on the microphone now. I got something to say, like, hey, pick me. I'm right here. But I found myself like in this position, like, man, who can I tell about this right here? And I saw Diva. I said, Diva's on fire. I love her work. Like, I love this lady. Like, me and Diva was in, I think it was voice class together. We, Southwest College bound, go Cougars. Yeah.
Cougars.
Yes. Cougar. But I say, you know what? You never know what a person needs in that time and moment. And especially in this time right now where all we have is time on our hands. Yeah.
Right.
So I say, you know what? She's up right now. I see her light on Facebook. Like, let me share this with her. Not knowing that she was going to fall in love with this. Like, hey, you know what? I like this right here. So it's giving me more time. And like, I keep on telling you, Diva, and I'm looking for 2021, that book coming out, that CD coming out. You stepping out of that zone.
Yes, ma'am.
We're here to grease them wheels, push you, But yes, So it feels great for a mentor like Miss Aisha Parker. And the funny thing about that was one day I was on IG and I just stumbled upon Miss Parker. I'm like, I didn't know this lady from Adams to Eve, but I was like, something about her that's pulling me to her. And I don't know what it is,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like I'm trusting you, God, to, you know, you're not letting this happen for a reason. So I'm like, okay. Then I was like, hi, my name is such and such, and I seen your work, and I seen you this and this and that. I seen that you have a open mic. Where's your open mic like located at? She's like, oh, we're in Lamert Park. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll be there. And it took me forever and a day
Right.
to get to that place, but I made it there. I got a chance to see Miss Aisha Parker face to face, gave her a hug. I was like, yes, this is the beginning of a new stone that's about to be passed to the next generation. Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Diva, back on you, bro. Because I see the
Yeah.
wheels in your head turning. They're going like that, then they're going like that, and they're going like that. Come on, it's on you, Diva.
I was writing down one of the things that when I listened to Miss Parker speak, that there's such motivation in whatever she's saying, and so it draws you in. And one of the things she said, your pen chases you. Your pen chases you, and that and really that can you can go deeper with that. If you're an artist, your brush chases you. If you're a singer, the mic
Yes.
chases you. The writer,
Yeah.
the pen chases you. And so it's beautiful. So there's some things that and all glory to God that God just so uses her. And when if you just like we talked, we had a beautiful conversation today. Thank you, my sister, for that beautiful conversation we had today. And it's like you do want to turn on a voice recorder, like, I gotta catch it, I gotta catch it, I gotta catch it. So it's Dana spoke about. I agree with her on everything she said. The the motivation in being a part of the Insomniacs, the motivation, the keeping you, it keeps you on your toes. I find I said to Ms. Parker today, ask me if I'm writing every week now, whereas I wasn't writing every week,
Right.
you know. So there's something even that came from our conversation that we're going to talk about tonight. If I
Mm-hmm.
may say it, Ms. Parker, writer's block. And
Oh.
that came from a conversation with me and Dana. That people have it. We experience writer's block, and some of the pearls of wisdom that she shared with me today. If you don't mind, Ms. Parker, giving a couple of key points on the experience of writer's block and why we have it, why we actually get it.
Well, I was simply saying, a lot of poets will tell you there's no writer's block, but if you really think about why there is a block, it's usually because you're not writing the thing that your pen wants to hear.
Mm-hmm.
You're not allowing
Oh.
yourself to go into those places, those dark spaces, those open wounds, those words that need to come out. And
Right.
so you fight it sometimes. You fight like, oh, I don't want to talk about molestation. That's too raw for me. I
Yeah.
don't want to talk. So you want to go to this poem. You want to write in this poem, and this poem is not speaking to you. Or this character, if you're another writer, that character isn't speaking to you because this other character wants to be birthed and it's demanding its time. And so
Wow.
sometimes as writers, that's where the blockage comes from, is because we don't allow ourselves to just be free. We don't allow the pen to take its energy and to take its course. So
Mm,
it's those things, it's those breaks it's that moment that you have to say, I surrender.
yeah. Yeah.
And you open
Mm-hmm.
yourself up to it. And it's a hard thing.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
all y'all out there who think that I know it all, I don't. But what I'm
Right.
telling you is what I've been through, and I know that those things come into my hand, and I'm like, oh no, 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 I'm not about to write about that. So you gotta allow yourself and give yourself permission to submit to your pen.
Yes. That right there. Say that again. Give yourself permission.
Submit to your pen.
Submit to your pen. Woo! Wait a minute. I got to write that down. Yeah. So, permission. to surrender your pen.
Don't listen. Don't be
Lord,
scared to submit.
Lord.
But
How
that's
many
another
people
whole
you
talk
usually
show.
have in your group?
Submit, submit. That's a big. That's
Right.
that word. That word
So
right there. That's a
how
big
many
word.
people do you like?
I
Big
didn't hear you.
word. Big word.
What'd she say? Okay. Can
Can
y'all
we?
hear me?
We can hear you. What'd you
Okay.
say, Eva? Lady Eva.
No. Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, we couldn't hear what you were saying. We just saw your hands. Say it again.
Oh, I was saying that was a big.
Yes.
Yeah. That I don't know if that.
I'm still here.
I think we're being part, but the word I don't know if that's because it kept getting cut off. But the word submit is a big word. You know, that's a big thing to be able to do to submit to that. It's the whole submit word. You know, just giving over. That means that you are not. The capacity is for you to free, like open up. You know, take off the mask, like we talked about today. Just let it out. You know, and that has been that was a challenge for me. That for me was a challenge. But I can tell you, it's almost like with the writing prompts, I wrote a piece. I wrote a piece before I joined the Insomniac, but I wrote a powerful piece the other week, and it came from a writing prompt. And it's almost like what you said. My pen just went and 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 until it was done. You know, and then for me to deliver the piece in the group, that was a big thing. You know, because that was a free and an admittance of, okay, here it is, y'all. This is what I experienced. You know, this is a taste of what I experienced. You know, but that in itself helps other people. You know, the what people were doing, the tears that were being shed, the emotions that we somebody else in that room was had felt something I had gone through. There's someone shared an experience in that room, I'm sure. Some type somewhere in on their own level. It may be some different facts, but there was pain there and they had felt it, you know. So I'm just grateful that there's a place for me. There's many places to pour out, but I believe that this atmosphere is meant to be. The Insomniac Poets is where it's meant to be right now. From it, this is a place for us, for any person. I'm going to say this, and I mean this with all sincerity. I believe the Insomniac Poets are going to grow and be massive according to God's will, whatever He'll have it be. That there we go with submission. Submit to it. Whoever comes through this, Miss Parker,
Mhm.
whoever comes through here, they're gonna be blessed and be a blessing. Some people will stay, some people will go, but this will be a place to catapult people. You're already a mentor. You know, there are people who come and grow to love you, and how you bring people in. You brought some amazing people in to talk to us, to take to that we can take the. You are a great person.
Thank
You are a plethora of information. You don't know. Yes, nobody knows it all. Not any guest you brought knows it all. But what they do know is wisdom, and it's inspiring, and it's something we can use. So I would encourage anybody out there. We're inviting you tonight and every night we're doing it to come be a part of this because you will not at all be disappointed. You're going to get something. You're going to get it. And it's going to be for your good, whether it be for you or to share with somebody else. I promise you. I promise. On the land, I promise you.
thank you.
You're welcome. God bless you, sis.
Woo.
And if any
Yes.
of you here
We got to
on the
join into your
screen
group.
is our Zoom ID and the password right there across your screen, Zoom ID and password. You can screenshot it on your phones. You are welcome to come be with us tonight. I'm gonna be there. Dana's gonna be there, and of course, Miss Parker speaks. Gonna be right there. Dial in. You got it. Download Zoom. It's not hard.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
thank you so much for that. I appreciate that, and I receive it. We
You're
were talking
welcome.
about the word submission. A lot of people, because of the way that society puts submission, and no one ever wants to submit, but people think that the dominant is the power player, but it's the one who submits that has the most control and the most power.
Wow. Wow. See, I told
That's
y'all. Look.
that's good. Say it one more time. Say it one more time. Just say that one more
Everybody
time.
thinks it's the dominant that has the control, but it's truly the one who has the greatest power is the one who knows how to submit. That is the greatest power you can have. The
And we
dominants
talked about
think they run it. They don't run nothing.
you know
Ah,
what? We talked about servitude today. Miss Parker said she's a servant. That am I correct? That's
Yes,
who
I'm a woman of servitude, have always been.
we all must be that. We all must
and I
be that.
dare each and every one just to come and sit down. Come sit in the Zoom room tonight. I promise you, you're gonna want to stay. You're gonna
Yeah.
want more and more and more. It's gonna be like crack to you. I promise you.
Come on, crack.
I might have to roll on
I
through and
want
get
you
with.
to. Come on
Yeah,
through. Even Jay.
it's my
Come on
gateway.
through. Yes, yes, yes.
You guys have really encouraged me. I'm sitting here multitasking with an assignment that is going on with my family right now. I can't really speak on it, but I know we got some praying women here, so
Yes,
y'all just pray.
absolutely.
There
Enlighten
is something
love.
else. If yes, yes, I want to go around the table before we go, and it's everybody starting with Dana, then with Diva, and then with the Queen down here. If you could say one thing to inspire somebody that wants to give up using this pen, what would you tell them? You first, Dana. If somebody had to give up
I would tell them, don't let it go because your voice is a powerful thing. And if you don't have a voice, you don't have anything. And if it's not on paper, it's nothing at all. It's just a dream. I come from where my cousins and I used to sit there in a circle and write. And they said, Dana, can you promise us one thing? Just one thing, that you will never drop your pen. Because later on, we're going to need your strength to come back to write again. So you never know who's watching you. So by telling your stories, by getting onto these open mics and stuff like that, I had learned from one poet that even if a person does not applaud you, does not mean that they're not listening to you. So something that you have said, they have heard, and it's resonating with them. It's getting there. Like, oh my goodness, did she just say that to me? Like, she's speaking directly to me. Like, how did she know that? It was like a one-on-one thing. So I encourage you, don't drop your pen.
Okay. Diva?
Ms. Parker said something earlier that I wrote down. We are the gatekeepers. We are the gatekeepers of our history. If you who can tell your story better than you? When you see people on TV emulating people before them, trying to act out their best version of who they're, whatever movie it's been or whatever life that they're emulating. I'll put it like that, not movie, but life. They're doing the best they can to tell this somebody else's story, the best they can. But who can tell your story better than you on it? So once it's on paper, once it's on whatever media you're choosing, the history is there. If you have children, it will be something to give to your children, something your children can pass on to their children. But we are the gatekeepers of our history. That's for anything. The storytellers, we're the ones. I am telling my story. And the more God allows me to be free, the more of my story that will be heard. And I didn't go through everything I have gone through thus far in my 47 years in vain.
Mhm.
When I look at me in the mirror, I'm not in vain. I am created. I'm uniquely and wonderfully made. I'm created because God purposed me. What is my purpose? I'm sharing it. I'm writing
Mm.
about it. And if in there's a song, my living shall not be in vain.
Yeah.
My living shall not be in vain because God created me to write. And so that's what I want to motivate everyone to do. You don't even have to be a poet. You could be a story. You could be a short story writer, a long story writer, a director, a playwright. Whatever you do, use your gift. You don't have time to waste. That was a prompt. I won't waste time.
Hey,
I don't have time to waste. Come on, Miss Parker. I won't waste time. I don't have time to
I
waste.
don't
I'm
have
done.
time to waste. I have
I'm
no
done.
more time to waste.
Okay. No
come
more
on
time to
back.
waste.
Yes.
So the pen, if someone were to tell me they wanted to, they didn't want to write anymore, that is like not living. And what it is for me is that in this fun thing, this is like a magic wand. You not only is it your magic, but it is your power. You take your power back when you write. And so I want people to be encouraged to be able to know that everything starts with your words, and the commitment to your words is the paper. And so it is important to me that people be able to tell, to edit, to write. Now I can read a poem from you from my mother. I could tell you a story about my mother, but it comes from me. But when I read her words, it's like she never left. And she tells her story according to the way she saw her story. As her daughter, I'm gonna tell the story from the perspective of her daughter. But when the words are written and they are staple, and I don't do any editing, that is my mother breathing off paper, even though she is not here anymore. So you want to continue your breath long after you're gone. Your legacy is printed in sheets. And so that for me is that sometimes we step away from our pen because of the things that happen. But when we get back to that pen, how rich is it? You take your power back. And you will find that when you people go to doctors and they say journal. They say, and people go say something, they let it all out, write it, and then burn it. There's so much power in your pen. Don't give up your power.
Yeah.
You know something? I'm feeling this right now. Glad this was a tester for us. But as I was researching this little thing that we're on right now, we're probably going to do this all over again, and we're going to record it so
Okay.
it won't break up, and then we're going to unleash it again because this was just the beginning. I see something getting ready to stir up here, so we might as well just stir it up real good and mix it up all together.
I brought my
There are a lot of
seasoning.
people
I
that
brought my seasoning.
Yeah.
we're going to set up a time this week to come back to Touch the World Studios, and we're going to record this like it really needs to be recorded. And we're going to launch out something every Sunday at 6 o'clock that's pre-recorded, and we're going to bleed it to the masses so we can bring them over to your room. How does that sound?
Sounds
Woo!
great. Sounds great.
So for those of you guys who missed the promo, I'm going to play the promo one more time before we get out of here, so stand by.
Insomniac Poet. It's more than a room, but Miss Parker have taught us how to look deep into our souls and pull those words out that say, hey, I'm gifted. I have a story to tell and I'm not afraid to share it. Even if you have to cry on my shoulder, I lend it to you. But at the end of the day, you're going to smile so bright because we're talented. Beyond measures, we are a family. United we stand, divided we'll fall. but we are a family that looks out and nurtures those who are broken. We take the pieces and make you whole. We invite you to the room to tell your story, to tell your legacy. It does not matter how you start, but it's how you finish. Even if you need a dictionary to find the words to say, welcome, Insomniac Poets.
So,
you who are watching on Facebook Live, y'all, I'm sorry I couldn't see some of you guys' comments. I went live on the Touch the World fan page. So the next time we do this, I will go live on Eva J's page because we have some comments on the watch party. I will make sure to post this information on the live feed so you guys can go in and tune in tonight. I'm see y'all at 9:07. I'm gonna creep on through.
So are you going? So you're coming. I love that.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Now,
I'm gonna roll on through.
Is there enough time for me to share?
Yes, come on, shit. You got.
Okay, so Diva says the writing prompt. So I'm gonna do what I always do when I'm on stage because I give homage to those who were before me. So I'm gonna do my affirmation and then I'm gonna do the writing prompt. I won't waste time. I have no more time to waste.
Okay, by yourself. Here you go.
I write with the love and conviction of my ancestors. I was born to write. Arthur A. Adams, grandfather. Leona Lillian Hollis, grandmother. Yvonne Zenobia Adams Parker, all wrapped tightly in my vocal cords, pressed heavy into my pen. Give me the strength to move mountains. Swim tsunamis because surfboards, well, they just get in my way. I spit flames with hot words, traveling on cool breezes. I am the 8th, 9th, 10th wonder of my world. You can call me whatever you like. But poet is what I answer to. This is my affirmation. No other words are needed. And that is my affirmation. So let's get to this poem, y'all. The poem is called Collision. I collided with life, got hit with the force of a moving Mack truck, dragged 18-wheeler, left in the middle of the road with tire marks tattooed across breastbone, charcoal-colored skin, charcoal-colored sails, jaded skin, bruised dermis, navy's my blues, darkens my heart. Sandman, don't bring me any more dreams. Dreams are for the sleeping. I've been comatose too long. Vital organs put on reserve, barely functioning. Semen matter dissolving onto concrete, concretes my sorrows. I lie, cold, splattered onto pavement. I had no more fight left in me. Numb, deprived of power of sensations, unresponsive, wondering if I even mattered. Was I even part of the living or just walking while dead? I can't allow myself to enter into the empty. I struggle not to become part of the nothing. So I fight for my happiness. Pull back the scabs of failure, allow venomous poison of regret to ooze away. I bleed out the unworthy. There is no rest for the weary, so I grow tired of being tired. I take a breath into lungs, then expel. I am arisen by hope, resurrected by change, restored by reclaimed purpose. I have purpose. I roll onto back so I can look up. Thoughts thump, new blood back into iced arteries. If I look up, I can get up. With pen pressed to paper, I'll wait action from its lethargic state, inscribing plans onto DNA, cleansing myself of disbelief, once again believing in myself. I chant, I won't waste time. I have no more time to waste. I won't waste time. I have no more time to waste. Get up. There is still work to be done. The wait is over. This is not your ending. Your start is now. I've been given a second chance to reinvent myself. Invent, I will. I won't waste time. I have no more time to waste. I won't waste time. I have no more time to waste. I have called out for help. My indomitable spirit replies, I got you. And that's that piece.
Yeah.
That's Miss Parker.
There you
Look,
go.
while you were speaking, the viewers jumped up like that. I don't know where they came from at the end of the show. Yeah. Baby.
That's Miss Parker speaks, y'all.
Thank
She
you guys
ain't
for
that for
having me.
nothing.
So can we have something, this week sometime, where we can come back to the studio and pre-record something? I'm gonna go and look at how this came. I'm gonna do my little editing tips and taps once I look at in entirety. But I enjoyed it. I thank you guys for being on the very first one. This has given me a idea that I've had on the back burner for a minute. So hopefully we can connect with you guys and open up the window for all of you guys. Did I hear you part? Is that what you said, Dana? What area are you in?
Me? I'm in Los Angeles.
Yes.
I'm in Los Angeles.
Okay. So we're definitely going to link up. God is not surprised. God is not surprised. For those of you who missed the show, go back and look at it later. They will be back next week sometime. We're not going to tell y'all. We're just going to do some pop-ups. I'm not going to say I'm coming on this time. I'm coming up that time. Y'all just stay tuned for Touch the World pop-up edition. Come on, somebody. I thank you guys for coming. Snap, snap. Make sure you share with a friend. And I will see you guys at 9:07. You guys don't hang up. But for our audience, we'll see you guys later.
Bye.